I hear that you would like to share an experience that you had at the old Saints facility.
Yeah, when I was walking up and I saw the van, I was like, I don't know why it hit me, but a lot of kids probably didn't have the opportunity I had growing up. I grew up one block away from the location of the original Saints camp on David Drive, Saints Avenue, between Eisenhower and David Drive. And at the time, that area was wooded area for several acres. And we always played in the woods. And as a kid, it was always fun because your imagination would go wild. You're Tarzan, you're tromping through the jungle. When they came in and cleared the property to build a camp, they took all the trees and they just bulldozed them. They didn't cut them down, they bulldozed them, they pushed them down. So the root base and everything, the whole tree would fall over. And they pushed the trees into giant piles. And we called those our wood piles. They were everywhere. And the way that the branches and the limbs and the trunks fell, it offered like little caves, little alcoves. You had a built-in fort. You had a built-in adventure. You could be a pirate. You could be an explorer. The imagination went wild. And we spent most of every day, particularly in the summertime, it'd be 9, 10 o'clock at night before we'd come home because we were out running around on all these wood piles and just having a great time. So that led directly into the New Orleans Saints and their birth in 1967. They started clearing the property sometime in 1966, I think. It might have been a little bit earlier. I was there as a small boy. I was in 9 or 10. I remember Tom Fears, John Meekum, the ribbon cutting. When they had the ribbon cutting, the whole property was nothing but sand. They were bringing truckloads of sand to build up the field and to put the camp together. And then after it got built and got turned over, the next great adventure for us was seeing the Saints practice. And at that time, on Saturday mornings, they would do a walkthrough, and I can still hear Bill Kilmer calling signals in the open air at outdoor field. There was no such thing as an indoor field there. It was all natural turf. There was no artificial turf. And you could hear that raspy voice, shouting out the signals. And if we'd be out riding our bikes, we'd hear him start calling, and we would just make a beeline to the camp because we knew practice was in session. The players were wonderful. One of our treasures was the dumpster sitting right outside the practice facility, because at the end of practice they would discard torn jerseys, cleats that were broke or some not usable, different types of tape that you put on your, back then you wanted to be, so you'd find a roll of tape and you tape your wrist up and you want to be a football player. And it was just an amazing adventure. Bringing the Saints here, I saw Pierre Thomas and Lance Moore being inducted in the Hall of Fame today, and I think that's probably what keyed it for me. Lance Moore made a statement. He said he played professional football in a couple of different cities. He said, but New Orleans was like a family. It was nothing else like it in his professional career added up to it. He enjoyed his time here. It was like the people, anywhere you go, Lance Moore, Pierre Thomas, it was just a wonderful experience. And I started thinking about that, and not only was it a wonderful experience for him, but what a team, a professional football team, meant to us, kids growing up. And it was a special time, very special time.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm kind of envious that I didn't have the same experience.
Well, we'd get, there were times we'd actually get discarded footballs. They'd be gouges or something would happen to them, and they would deflate them and just chunk them in the dumpster. Now, as a kid, you go in a dumpster and you pull out the Duke. Pete Rozell's name on it, the Duke. That became the football. And everybody in the neighborhood wanted to play football with you because they were hoping you'd bring the Duke out and play, bring the Duke. I used to catch kicks for Tom Dempsey. he would kick, when he was kicking extra points or practicing field goals, towards the building side, which would be pointing north, the goalpost there. He would actually kick it over the building. That was before they came up with nets. So before kicking practice started, all the kids would start congregating because they would come out and ask anybody. Yeah, oh yeah. It was like, are you kidding? It was a wrestling match to get out in the street, and catch football. And it's very special things like that. Yeah.
That's really nice. We're celebrating the Tricentennial, and we're wondering, with that spirit in mind, how you'd imagine New Orleans after another 100 years.
To me, the first thought that hit my mind was that New Orleans would be relocated north of I-12. It's just, and I hate the thought of it because there's so much history. The city, the culture, there's a lot said about race relations. And in my opinion, if the government would stay out of race relations and the media would stay out of race relations, they would have the city of New Orleans culture across the nation. I cannot imagine what the city would be like without any one key ingredient being removed from it. Being the African ingredient, the Spanish, the French, any one of those, you take any one of those away and the spirit of New Orleans changes. It would not be the same. It would not be the same earthy, spiritual bonding that we have now. The cultures, the food, the music, everything about it, the vibe of the city, Mardi Gras, it would all change. It would not be the same.
If you could describe New Orleans in one word, what word would that be? And why?
One word. A lady. A lady. Because she has so much to offer you. You want to treat her special. You want to present her. And you want to spoil her. You want to be with her. And New Orleans is a lady.